How's it going, and welcome to my video on the secrets of Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden. In the book, we are given 17 secrets which are extremely unique and clever and hilarious and scary and game-breaking. But the thing is there's only 17 secrets. Some DMs may feel like they want to give each player 2 secrets. Some DMs might want to see much more replayability with this module and thus want to give out more secrets. But with 17, that's a little bit limited. So thankfully, myself and several of the DMs from the Rime of the Frostmaiden Discord have come together and made a whole bunch of cool and unique secrets that you can give to your players. But before I dive into these additional secrets, I must warn you that there will be spoilers, so anybody who plans on playing in Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden, and doesn't want these secrets no longer secret, then feel free to turn away. But DMs, let's go ahead and dive right into this list of 34 additional secrets for your adventure. Alright DMs, let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, 34 additional little secrets here. Mind you, these things are not super duper complex by any means, but they are definitely a starting point to think about your own secrets, and you can of course just take these secrets and warp them to your own desires. So let's go ahead and take a look here. First off, we have Understudy of Averice. Basically, this lets you throw in the Arcane Brotherhood early and not have it seem contrived later on. You can definitely have your players already cooked into the fact that, oh, there is at least one person from the Arcane Brotherhood who's located somewhere up in the north, and maybe they have something to do with devils. But putting in the Arcane Brotherhood early in a campaign is fantastic because it lets you throw in these subtle little hints and secrets that there is this lost city and there's more than meets the eye of what's going on around Icewind Dale. Next up, we have Dragon's Plaything. This one can certainly be a lot of fun, as one of your player characters is under the Gesh spell of a adult green dragon. Occasionally, this green dragon scries upon this person and forces them to do something outrageous. And if they don't do something outrageous, lo and behold, they're going to get zapped for psychic damage. Really scary stuff. A Toad's Magical Life. This one's pretty unique. This is, you start off as a toad in life, you are not a person. Then the toad was given intelligence through an awaken spell, and then later on, the toad was transformed into the person that they are today with a true polymorph. That can have a lot of fun, roleplay elements of, oh, I used to be a animal, maybe I can get along with all these other awakened animals that are around here too. Twice Bitten, Once Shy. You're a half vampire. That gives you some benefits, but it also does mean that there is some, both moral implications and social implications. Basically, if people start to notice that, something's a little fishy with this guy, he might have some canines, he doesn't want to hang out around, bright stuff. If they don't go to private residences, that could certainly be a big deal. And people might, start trying to take you to the stake. Literally. Old as Time. You're a clone of a Netherese citizen, and for some odd reason, you were in stasis for all these hundreds of years, and you awaken to discover that the Netherese Empire has fallen, and you discover the world all around you. This can be really cool because you can try and ask around, like, what did happen to the Netherese? I'm curious. But at the same time, you have to be, smart and not expose yourself, because a lot of people didn't like the Netherese, and that certainly could have some issues, because if some people find out you are Netherese, they could start poking and prodding at you to try and get more information out of your ancient civilization. In service of a Fiend, you're in the service of an Arcanoloth. And that can be awesome because the Arcanoloth can certainly slip some information to you, and they could, put you on the right path. But at the same time, they might be demanding. And also very important is the fact that there is also other Arcanoloths running around the joint who have their own agents doing their own things. So maybe you're bumping heads with other agents and it's, hey, nothing personal, it's just business, kid. All eyes on me. You are currently babysitting a baby gazer. That is awesome because you got to feed this thing, you got to protect this thing, you got to make sure it doesn't get into the limelight because everyone is going to, freak out or maybe try and kill it or try and capture it or do something. So you have to protect this little baby gazer as you're traveling around all around the world. Got to protect it from the elements, got to protect it from other people, and you got to feed the thing. That can certainly be a lot of fun. No longer side by side. Your shadow's missing, which Fortunately, a lot of time people wouldn't notice because a lot of time it is dark and hopefully, there's not enough light around. But if there is light and people are perceptive enough, they'll be like, huh, something's weird to this person. They're missing a shadow. And they might, come to their own conclusions as to why you don't have a shadow. And unfortunately, you are probably in the same boat. The thing is that your shadow is haunting you. Your shadow is creeping around somewhere, and it's waiting to drain all that sweet, juicy strength from your body. I Dream of Djinni. With this lets you as a DM come up with any three ridiculous over-the-top requests to assign to your player because anybody is going to do almost anything to get a wish fulfilled. That is a tremendous deal. So you can use this, to get them on the right path in the quest, or you can do this to completely sidetrack them. You can do a lot of things with this, and the payoff can certainly be awesome. Or it could be vindictive. This could be a monkey's paw, where when the player finally gets their wish is not as it seems. What were we doing again? This one is terrifying. You basically only remember the past 24 hours of your life, meaning that you have to constantly remind yourself and constantly get reminded by others about what's going on. Meaning that this person might be a little bit frantic. They might be, writing down several things. They might have a journal that they keep on writing in, and that is how they start moving along. But obviously, this can be a little bit annoying if, someone gets lazy and says, oh, what's going on again? Haha. So be careful with this one. Escaped from Monkey Island. I hope enough people get this reference, but if they don't, oh well. This is basically a, homage to an old game, and what it does is it lets you forge a ghost pirate that is roaming around the place, and presumably probably, somewhere around the Sea of Moving Ice that you get to use, and is haunting whoever has the secret. The effect, though, is that you get to hold your breath for 10 whole minutes, which can be good, but obviously in this adventure you're usually dealing with cold water, and that has its own very, very large set of detriments alongside it. Revels End Escape Artist. This is, of course, a great little thing of, oh, I was in jail, but I got out, and I actually knew some people at Revels End, and I know all about it. And this is great because if you have someone that has the Revels End Escape Artist, and your group is actually going to make their way back to Revels End, they could certainly give some very good insight, and you could let them in on how they got out. Dancing Wild in the Moonlight. You're like a weakish, werebear, except the issue is the fact that when a full moon shows up, whether you can see it or not, that doesn't matter. You're going to go feral. And when you go feral, you're not going to remember anything. The player loses control of the character, and anything goes. Would rather have been an orphan. Unfortunately, you were raised by hags, and this sucked. The hags played fun little tricks on you, and one of their more gruesome ones was they ripped out your eye. However, they gave you basically a free eye, which lets you yank it out of your socket, throw it out, and let you see through it. Pretty cool stuff. But the problem is this eye has an HP, and if you let it out and it gets damaged, then the hags are going to start haunting your dreams because, they're using this eye and alongside of using you. Didn't check the fine print. Good news, you're in service of a devil. Bad news, this devil wants Oriel gone, and you are going to be the one that is going to do it. So basically, you are just, at the beck and call of a horrible pit fiend. Greed is good. Basically, your character really wants to get their hands on all the gold that they can get. And in addition to that, they also have the ability to somehow steal something from people. The issue is greed will definitely catch up to them. If they steal from the wrong person and they steal too much, then they are probably going to be on the wrong side of the law. Is it worth it? Basically, someone handed a map to the player character and then immediately died. Scary stuff. So you're now in possession of this weird cursed map. This treasure map, though, could lead to really something cool, and that is up for you as a DM to decide. It could lead anywhere, and it could lead to anything. But whoever's in control of this map has to never let this map out of their possession. An unnatural magnetism. You are a basically walking magnet. You can hold on to weapons a lot better and have advantage on rolls against being disarmed. However, ranged weapon attacks that use metal have advantage against you. Which fortunately in this module isn't much, but it could come up for once in a while, goblins shooting bows and whatnot. You're a wizard wary. You were born in a terrible household and you basically abhor the dark and small little areas. But good news, that character starts off with a cantrip from the wizard class. Cool stuff. Totally not three kobolds in a trench coat. You are totally three kobolds in a trench coat. Need I say more? Boots too big to fill. Your family is full of legends and heroes and people with epic tales, and then there's you. There's no way you could amount to anything that they have done, right? Well, it's up to you to prove it. You have the ability to multi-class into any class regardless of your stats. However, you have, that strong sensation of needing to do something outrageous because no one believes in you. And you thought the cold was bad. You've got something growing on you. It's kind of creepy. And more importantly is the fact that this thing, this curse, this fungi, whatever it is, it's growing and growing. So you as a DM are going to have to come up with an idea of, oh, hey, is this thing going to affect them to some degree? Are they going to lose control of their limbs? Are they going to start taking damage? Do they have vulnerabilities to certain damages? How long does it take for this thing to fully manifest? Only time will tell. A party of two. Your character is possessed. And unfortunately, every once in a while, that ghost wants to take charge and start, messing things up and who knows what else. So hopefully that ghost doesn't take over at the wrong time. A feast of flesh. One day you came home and found that your parent was ghoulified. Yes, they turned into a ghoul and were eating everyone else. You, in a terrified and weak state, were able to somehow get this ghoul into the basement. But the thing is what do you do with your dear old parent? You don't have the will to kill them, but at the same time, you know that if nothing happens, then they're going to die. And unfortunately, you lured several people into that basement to get them eaten. Really, really dark and creepy. Can teach an old dog new tricks. You were old and you were, retired and life was good and you were maybe close to your deathbed, but then suddenly you found yourself young again. And the problem is this isn't just like, you got youngified a little bit. No, it seems like you are aging and you are aging rapidly. So you are going to have to, try and disguise the fact that you're aging so rapidly to not freak people out. And of course, you're going to have to maybe try and find a way to see if you can slow down this process. On the bright side, because you were so old, you picked up an extra language in your retirement. A natural born trooper. You were part of the circus. However, this isn't, this fun and nice circus. This was a creepy and dark circus, maybe even tied to the domain of dread itself. As your troop traveled around, you discovered that things began to change all around, and it was creepy. And unfortunately, that change happened to you as well. You are what's called the wooden. You are partially a tree. And what's cool is, if you receive direct sunlight, you don't need to eat for the day. However, you are considered both a humanoid and plant for the purposes of magical effects. Meaning that, there's certain spells that do extra damage to plants or, there's things that do other such various things. Not my kind of party. You were part of an expedition full of family, and lo and behold, something terrible happened in the mountains, and one by one people were dropping, and you had to do whatever it took to survive. What that means, it's anybody's guess, but, obviously this is an homage to the Donner Party, so one can expect what had to have happened there. Not so proud family. You came from Dugan's Hole, and unfortunately, we all know the ramifications of that. You are probably an incest baby. So you're probably going to either one, never let anybody know you came from Dugan's Hole, or two, you're going to have to try and shine the light on Dugan's Hole's people and say, hey, no more incest. Struck by Sune's arrow. You are just stricken with mad, mad love. In fact, this love happens all the time. Once a day at random, the first person that you see, you just fall madly in love with, meaning that you are essentially charmed by them. The next day, though, you wake up and you forget all about this mad infatuation that you had. Hopefully you're not looking at the big bad evil guy in the middle of a fight when this effect kicks off. It wasn't me, I swear. And the problem was, it was you. Either on purpose or on accident, you did kill someone, and the town that you came from, whichever one of the 10 towns, does want you alive or dead, and they're willing to pay a price for it. So you are probably going to try and avoid that town at all cost, and if you do have to go to that town, you're probably going to want to make sure that you do not reveal yourself. You know, guys, that rock over there looks cool. I'll check it out. You were given a family secret that there is 5 separate pieces of a basically large treasure for your family. The only issue is the treasure is cursed, and if anybody touches it, they will have something terrible happen to them. So you're going to want to go around collecting some pieces of this treasure, but at the same time, you don't want to involve your friends with it. A sacrifice for a soul. Oriel herself cursed you, and you have to do a ritual sacrifice in her name to stave off death. If once a week you do not ritually kill someone and do it in a barbaric way, then unfortunately you suffer 1 level of exhaustion, meaning that you need to start killing people quick or else you are going to start to die. The last of their kind. You have giant's blood running through your vein. What does that mean? It could mean a lot of things. There's a lot of implications about what happened to all the giants in Icewind Dale, and maybe some people don't like giants, and thus maybe some people won't like you if they find out your secret. But it does let you interact with giants, and it does mean that you can speak giant. And spying ain't easy. You are a spy for the Red Wizards of Thay, and if you don't know, those guys are really bad. Basically, your job around here is to put a whole bunch of magical sensors everywhere to get the dirt on some people and try and influence the political realm of the 10 towns. Because if the Red Wizards take over 10 towns, they will have a sizable area of control. And that's it. 34 secrets. The great thing about these secrets isn't the fact that, they're super in-depth. They don't need to be in-depth. When you introduce these secrets to your players, they will begin to grow a life of their own. When you introduce the fact that, I Dream of Djinni, then you're going to say, oh, what were the other, requests that I had to do? And then you'll begin to this back and forth of how you interact with their background and how they want to interact with their background. There's a lot of fun things you can do with this. And you don't need to just limit yourself to the secrets, not only in the book and here. You can do whatever you want. Maybe mix and match them. Just create your own things. Maybe don't even give them any secrets at all. Who knows? I certainly think that secrets can be a lot of fun if used correctly, but if they are implemented in a weird way and if the payoff isn't worth it, then sadly they kind of fizzle out. So I would recommend staying away from secrets that just don't work with you, don't work with your players, and just use the things that you think just stick out and sound awesome. And that's going to do it for me. I'm going to have the link to the Icewind Dale Rime of the Frostmaiden Discord down below. I'm going to have a link to this PDF down below, and feel free to use it as you desire. If you like this stuff, go ahead and check out my other series where I'm going super duper in-depth to all of the locations of Rime of the Frostmaiden, and of course I'm going to be doing other modules and other areas as well. Thank you all for watching, and have a good time.